Hello everyone, my name is Cap and welcome back to the channel. Another 7 Days to Die video. Doing all those in Alpha 17 on the PC, and this is an experimental build, so if things change down the road after final release comes up, just do keep that in mind. And today we're going to be looking at one of the most requested tests, and that is vehicle damage running over zombies. We already looked at how you can build the 4x4 truck, and you know you can mow down zombies and they ragdoll around and it looks pretty cool, but how much damage do they actually do? So I'm going to do a couple different tests. I'm going to start off, I got the old 4x4 here, and this is a level 6 one. This is the highest level one. I spawned this one in so I can do the test, and I will test it out with a lower level as well. We have our lovely assistant out here in front, and you can see that she is sitting at, right at the moment, 125 health. So what I'm going to do to start with is just bump her, just kind of gently nudge her a little bit here, and just to see what happens. So we're going to go... Okay, so we just barely ran into her. Let's see if that changed at all. Nope, she took 125. She's got 125 life. Okay. So we're kind of pushing her along there. Let's see if that did anything. Okay, that did 1 damage. Okay, let's back it up a little bit. Get a little bit of a running start here so we have enough time to get the vehicle to full speed. Okay, full speed. Okay, so she ragdolled along, and that did about 30... I can remember 40, about 35 damage. Not a whole lot here, so 35 damage. Okay, so let me back it up here about the same distance, and I'll use the turbo by holding down shift here. So get going full speed, a little bit of turbo, and let's see, that took her from 89 down to dead. So using turbo definitely did do enough damage to finish her off. But we do need to be able to try that again to test it out to make sure that's actually what we saw. So let's get this reset and we'll try it again. Alright, so Sylvia number 2 is in the road there. Let's back this bad boy up a little bit here. That's about far enough to get full speed. You can see she's sitting at 125 health, so we'll get going full speed. Hold down shift to get turbo, and trying to hit just the one time here. Okay, so running at turbo, it did about 80 damage here. So compared to the first time, we only did about 40. It looked like it did almost double the amount of damage by holding down shift. So that's at least something viable. Now, I don't know for certain how long you can hold down shift, and you can go backwards with turbo too. See, I'm going backwards right now. Let's see if there's any kind of difference here. It doesn't seem like it's going any faster than this about this. It's kind of like with your previous vehicles, is that you can get going max speed in about 15 total blocks here. It doesn't take a lot of time to get going max actual velocity here. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this with a little bit different quality vehicle and see how it works out here. Okay, so we have our lovely assistant down the road there, and we have a level 1 4x4. You can see we were rocking the level 6 last time, so we got this one in here. And so we're going to test out if it will do anything more or less with the level 1 than it does with the level 6. We'll get going nice and full speed. You can double check and stuff. She has a full 125 health. So let's get this bad boy going here. And let's see. Okay, that was with holding shift. That's some good ragdoll right there. Okay, so holding shift. She went down to 47 again, which is about how much she took the last time. So she went down to the exact same amount using in a completely lower level vehicle. So as of this test, it doesn't seem like the quality of the vehicle that you're running, at least with a 4x4, does anything different whatsoever. So we're going to kind of ease up and tap her again, kind of just push her along. It doesn't seem like pushing her is doing anything at all. We're just going to drive her through the cornfield because, you know, we can just beat up on her face that way with these corn stalks. But as you can see, that didn't do anything. Just pushing her around did nothing. Let's see, we'll give her a little bit of a bump here with no turbo. And that did all of about 21. That did 21. So if you got them all close proximity, you don't have time to go full speed. If you can, you know, move a little bit into them, you'll definitely be able to do a little bit of damage to them. But it looks like having some distance to run and running turbo is where it's really going to run. So now let's try this out with a group of zombies. All right, so put just a small group up here. We got Sylvia, we got Mo, we got Farmer Bob over here, we got Carl the cop, and we got the burning dude over here in the distance. Got them in just a small group so I can hit them at the same time just to see if running over a small group of zombies will actually stop the Jeep or if you can continue on. So let's get going here. Let's have enough room to go full speed and to see what we have here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and test out their life here. Okay, so 125, 250 for Cop, 150 for the farmer, 300 for Mo, and another 125 for the burnt zombie here. So we'll try this out here. All right, get going full speed. Floor it. Okay, bust in some turbo, and let's see what happens. Okay, now let's stop moving. Alright, so it looked like the incendiary dude over there didn't take any damage. Let's see, maybe he did. Okay, he took 1 damage. It looked like running through the crowd slowed it down enough that I didn't even really do any damage to him. So, let's see, the cop took about 41 damage. Sylvia took a big chunk of damage. She took almost 100 out of that. So, it looked like the people in the front of the group took the most amount of damage, but then it just slowed it down, and after that, you were basically just bumping them. You can see, like I said, the cop took 5 damage. The farmer, he took a decent amount, but he was closer to the front, too. But you look at, it just kind of look at the way the stats compare here, and it doesn't look like, if you're running over a group of them whatsoever, that it's going to do anything. And apparently backing up while they're sitting right next to you, even going turbo. We can get Sylvia to do some skating here. That didn't really do a whole lot for her running backwards. So we will test it out running around backwards here and see if backing into him does anything. Since this vehicle's got the big blades on the front of the vehicle, we can see if it will do anything backing over them. Alright, so look, hold on. A little contenders to drive here. Okay. Back it up. Make sure. Okay. So, I think if we got this right here. Stop. Okay, look it up. Alright, no, stop. There we go. Okay, so that's the farmer. Let's see. The farmer is currently sitting at 89 health. So let's back up and run into him. Now we're gonna. Okay, we barely hit him. Enough to count. So he went from 89 to 80. So, yeah, running over him backwards really doesn't do that much. I guess that's why the big sharp pointy thingies are on the end of this thing here. So it doesn't look like the vehicle is going to be a super efficient way to kill zombies unless you're just going one-on-one and you have room to run, and then you can ragdoll them down the road and bounce over the top of them. And it doesn't look like they take any damage when you're bouncing over the top of them after you've already run into them, and they're just kind of hitting the ground and you roll over them. It doesn't seem to do any more damage. It's like they're stuck in an animation while you're waiting to figure out if they're actually going to get back up or not. Alright, so now we'll test it out with the motorbike. This is a level 4, so it's kind of right in the middle of the road as far as quality goes, between 1 and 6. You can see that Sylvia's sitting down there with 125 health, so let's run this bad boy up at full speed and see if it does very much damage at all. Holy cow! That was fantastic. That was just absolutely wonderful. Good ragdolling. Alright, so she ended up taking about 70 damage by getting hit by the bike now, so that's actually really, really good here. That's fantastic. Okay, so we'll test this out with a new Sylvia here, running at regular speed, no turbo, just from a little ways away, and see what she took from there. Okay, so she went from 125 to 109, so she took about 18 damage, just barely moving here. Let's see, go backwards just a little bit further, still not using any turbo. It just kind of bumped her. I hit the brakes beforehand. Okay, so let's see. So she went from 108, just barely bumping her down to... Okay, so that's not using turbo. That was just regular full speed. 108 down to 84. So she took about 24 damage. So using the bike does seem to be pretty efficient. I can't imagine it's going to work any better against a horde or even a small group of zombies than the truck would. But at least now you know that they do a little bit of damage here. The truck looks like it does a little bit more damage than the bike does, but not by a whole heck of a lot. Well, we might as well test out the gyrocopter and see if it does anything. Okay, so we ran over her. She was a brand new Sylvia. Oh, the brakes on this thing are not good. Alright, so let's see. She went from 125 down to 98. So just running over her just by itself did a good 27 damage. That's not too terribly bad. It is unfortunate, though, that the blades don't do any damage to anything if you run into them. They don't do anything. See, they're still spinning. You can jump up into them. They don't hit you. There's no collision whatsoever on the blades, and that is a little bit unfortunate because I was really hoping to be able to bury this about a block and a half into the ground and just have this as a really nice little blade trap. But the gyrocopter does do a decent amount of damage, but it's not going to be something you would want to just drive along the ground. It's not very fast anyway. And we'll throw the bicycle in here, get going full speed on this one. Oh, there's some pretty good ragdoll of that. She's kind of bounced off of it. Let's see what she took damage-wise. Went from 125 down to 92. Wow. The bike actually did a decent amount of damage considering that, there's no any kind of weaponry or, sharp objects or anything else. It's just a bicycle. So she took a decent amount of damage. Took more than she did with the gyrocopter. Alright, so let's get a little bit further back here. Do you know you can bunny hop with the bike? Not very high, but if you hit the C button, you can jump. Okay, so let's double check that. So she's sitting at 92. Alright, we're going to get this floored here. Alright, max speed. Boom! Alright, so she took a good shot right to the knee on that one. Went from 92 down to 76. So for some reason, she took less damage going full speed than she did when took less damage the first time than she did the second time. So Not really consistent level there, especially since you're just kind of hitting her in the limbs with it. But I know people are going to want me to test that out, so I threw that in there. The bicycle can damage zombie. I wouldn't use it as your primary form of attack. And of course, Old Faithful, the old mini bike here. Okay, so we hit her going full speed. A brand new Sylvia at 125, took her down to 112. Let's get it down here, see if we can get some better speed, just in case we didn't hit max velocity, and that's about it. So, all right, power swerve here. Okay, we are running maximum velocity. Gonna hit her dead on, right in the middle. And she took a whopping 22 damage that way, so the mini bike doesn't really do a whole lot of damage again either. So there we have that. Alright, so there you have it. That is the vehicle damage test a lot of people have asked me to do, and you can see that the Jeep and the new motorcycle do the most amount of damage. The other ones will do a little bit of damage, but I'd really just prefer doing that as a drive-by. Hit them, keep going, don't even worry about trying to clean them up. So, hopefully this answered a lot of you guys' questions. I mean, if you have any more or think I missed something in the test, do drop it in the comment section down below, and I'll see if I can either retest it or answer those questions. If you found the video useful, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button down below, and be sure to subscribe if you're not already so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you guys so much for all your support. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later.